right, hey everybody. I wanted to come to you from my wonderful, humble little home here, my little rig, and just kind of come to you with a new idea that we're starting. We're doing something called What If Wednesday. A while back I had posted if people had questions and what kind of the popular questions would be, and today I wanted to start August of 2023. We're starting on Wednesday, and we're going to start What If Wednesdays, which is just for me to interact with you and give you a couple of tips or tricks for some of the most common questions out there. It's by no way, shape, or form a full lesson, but just some ideas to consider, and if you need more personalization, of course you know where to find me. We have our Calendar Cues program. www.trekkingdogtrainer.com is the website for all the other options for in-persons and remotes, etc., and then we can always go from there. But for this What If Wednesday, our very first one, the number kind of that we drew was 14, and the question 14 was, what if my dog actually eats poop? Whether it's a multi-dog household and they're eating poop from each other, or if they're eating their own poop, or if they're eating other dogs' poops, especially like in the backyard was the question, like they eat it in the backyard. Along the walks, of course, would be that we would train leave it and things like that. Whole other talk. But like for this question, I want to be able to just answer that we of course want to keep it cleaned up. We do want to probably teach a nice little come when called, and I'll go over kind of the steps in a minute for that. And then we can also work on leave-its and play stays and things like that so that you can go clean it up, so that I'm not racing back. And of course, then we also want to look at the why. Though, although we may not know why, it's pretty gross to consider already. But dogs have different senses of smell than we do. They smell things much more readily. One of the common thoughts processes is that the dogs kind of have that smell of there's food still left over. And so sometimes undigested food like corn or even peanuts. If you look at your dog's poop after, not that you want to, but if you look at it after eating a chunky peanut butter Kong, most of the peanuts aren't necessarily digested. They go right through. So some of those things when you're feeding actually do wind up in the poop. So one of the first things we look at is the dog getting enough nutrition? That's something you can ask your vet. I'm happy to help. I do have some certifications in nutrition as well, but we can look at your dog's diet and kind of rule out, is there a nutritional deficiency? That's kind of step one. If we rule out physical, then we can move into behavioral, but we can never fix a physical solution with a behavioral solution, or a physical problem with a behavioral solution. But basically look at that first. And then what we want to kind of look at next is, regardless of why they're doing it, is it competition with another dog because they're both interested in it and they smell food? Is it simply anxiety behavior? There's something else going on that they need to clean it up, or maybe there was some yelling in the past and things like that of no and stop it. Sometimes there's some other underlying behavior there, but not necessarily something we have to immediately address, but kind of think about the whys. And then we just move forward. I tend to start with dogs, calling them, getting a really good come touch, getting a kind of a recall. I also work on place stays so that they learn place really well. And that way, as soon as they poop, I can actually call them to touch, give them something, yes and pay, really, really good things, have them go to their place and stay while I go clean up the poop. And then I can have them release or break from the place and go play. So it comes a routine of go poop, come get your treat, go on your place. Usually when I do that with the place, I'm giving them a tasty stuffed Kong, something that they have no desire to go eat poop because they'd rather have that Kong and then stay on their place. So yeah, it does require some consistent effort to teach some of those things, and in my Calendar Cues program, or even personalized lessons, we can go over those things. But it really starts a lifelong habit pretty quickly in a different routine, a different habit. Just like our habits, they take some time and consistency to create, and we want to create a lifelong habit that we don't necessarily have to do this for. Eventually you'll be able to let out your dog, they'll poop, they're not even going to care about it, they're going to come race to you and say, all right, what are we going to do? What are we going to play? And you don't have to worry about feeding them so much. But right now, we do need to set that up. We need to give them that motivation to kind of go, they're going to go poop, but then they race over to us, they get their cookies, they go in their place, they get their stuffed Kong, I go clean up the poop, and then they're good to go. You do have to be involved. So that is something where it's like, oh, I just want them to stop doing it. Okay, but you need to be involved to help them, just like kids. We don't leave a 2-year-old kid just running around the house by themselves and leave to go to the grocery store. We have to supervise. So go out with your dog, teach a really good come touch, teach a place, that way you can play stay and have them go get the poop, clean it up, be kind of on the ball about that, about keeping it cleaned up, and kind of make it so it's no big deal. It's better to stay away from the poop, it's better to come away from the poop than it is to actually stay by the poop and eat it. If your dog is going far off in the distance, that might mean you have to have a leash on them, like a drag line, so that you can prevent them from turning around and eating it right away. But that's also why if you teach a really good come when called, you can call them right away. As soon as they lift up from that squat, you can call them right away, and they're going to come when called for that tasty treat, because because that's what they've learned. So those are some tips and tricks just right away. Hopefully that helps you get started. If not, again, we can do personalized sessions, and a lot of these basic behavior foundation cues are taught again in Calendar Cues, which is my new program. It's all online. It's from the comfort of your own home to watch the videos, and then you take it and you run with it. So if you're interested in enrolling, just let me know. Otherwise, submit your comments with your questions below. Basically comment with your questions for the next What If, because the next What If Wednesday will happen next week. As always, stay blessed. As always, happy training. Elevate yourself to the next level. Live in 4D. Take care.